Hey everyone, I hope you got the ships you were looking for this week during the holiday sales. So we're going to go over the production schedule and a few other fun things that came up during the course of this week. Alright guys, let's get to it. Welcome everyone to another week of BlastCast. Once again, this is Jarvis, and with me as always is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon.
More like Coughing Dragon.
Coughing Dragon. Yeah, we're both not feeling very good. I guess this is the part of the holidays, the gift that keeps on giving. I might have some different background footage playing here this week, and that's just because there's not a lot of new stuff to show you in Star Citizen at the moment. We're currently waiting for an update, so I'm going to show you some other things just for those of you who actually watch the BlastCast as opposed to just listen. A lot of times there's a lot of podcasts out there that I just listen to when I'm doing other things. I can understand that people do the same thing. Now, of course, the production schedule that is listing here is saying that Evil Conti should be testing 2.6 sometime this week. And not exactly sure. They give a window here between like Monday and Wednesday. So, yeah, basically we'll have to see what happens with that. But the general idea that 2.6 is getting really, really close to playable, and I'm really looking forward to having some new content to play around with, especially because the Herald comes out, and I've really wanted to fly that for quite some time. Now, we did get some comments about the Prowler. We made a video about that in particular, and also mentioned it in the last BlastCast, and there was a lot of heated arguments or debates about it. The fact that we were saying that we felt it was we liked the ship. We like the design. We like the way it looks. We like the functionality of it. We were just saying that it's not a boarding ship, and it's a drop ship, and that's where we felt that the ship didn't hold true to its original intent. What would make the ship, in our opinion, a boarding ship would be some way to disable the target ship. For example, you have, of course, the Avenger, the one with the EMP in it.
The Warlock, is it?
Yeah, the Warlock. You're basically going to have that ship, for example, can come up and use the EMP to disable a ship, and then while it itself is disabled, if you could come up with a way that the EMP only projected forward in another ship, then that ship would say get behind them, disable it, and then when the ship is disabled, send the troops over. Now, without that kind of functionality, it's going to make the ship, pretty much in my opinion, always a drop ship, not a boarding ship. Someone had mentioned in the chat, and I wasn't aware of this also as well, was that a long time ago they talked about how they wanted ships to couple together. That's why you had all those different coupling areas on ships. And that due to physics issues, whenever they try to get the ships to couple, they end up exploding, which of course is not very good. So that's been dumped for now. And so I get where that may put a hamper on something like the way that maybe they wanted the Prowler to work to a degree, but where the physics meshes interact. But that doesn't mean that down the road, after the game's release, they might not come back and revisit that. I see it as something that may be a complexity that for now they've just gone ahead and said, this is an integral.
It's too much work to do right now. We have more important things like making and finishing the game.
Exactly.
And it's a very, very small aspect of it.
Right. It's a small detail that can be revisited, and it's not worth putting a lot of time into it. You can go back and look at it and basically say, hey, now let's go ahead and do it. And I could, with the amount of things that they've pulled off, they've done some amazing things. I mean, we weren't even expecting to see procedural plants until after launch. So they're really a bunch of smart guys, and I could see them getting this done, but they need to just focus on the main parts of it first, and I agree with that. But I do see it possibly happening in the future. I think that's why they haven't removed them from the design of the ships. I think they're still, deep down, they want to still do that. And one of the big things that came out was...
before we get off that topic...
Yeah.
I think part of the reason, which is what people were talking about in the comments, is it's not just the ship has physics enabled. There's multiple grids of physics, where a game like Kerbal Space Program, which is a physics game, you can dock in that game and you really don't have any problems. I mean, the game kind of weirds out when two physics objects merge and kind of connect. but mostly that's like a camera issue. But with Star Citizen, you've got like the actual ship level, and then like the walking level, I believe, is the other one.
Right.
And there might be one other after that. And I think that's where the biggest problem is because there's too many different things colliding into it. I don't know how easy it would be an actual game engine to do, but the simplest thing that comes to mind would be you have a docking computer that you engage to go docking, whether it's a boarding ship or just a regular docking, maneuver. And if it's boarding another ship or docking with another ship, it would actually disable physics on both vehicles before they connect, and then they'd probably have to stay that way. But it really depends on how far they went with their actual, modeling. I mean, maybe that's not even possible because they wanted to be too complex with this stuff. And it may be that we will never see boarding in the way that we thought it was going to be, just because of how deep and developed they wanted the game to be.
Yeah, and I could see that. I really could. So I mean, we'll just have to see what happens with all that. And down the road, they may come up with an equitable solution. And but either way, it doesn't really matter too much. There's a lot of other ways to do things, and like for example, one of the things I have as an early backer, it's even in my hangar, is a tractor beam. I never equipped it on any ship really because it doesn't do anything yet. But for example, if the clamping on wasn't going to work, and if they didn't want to do something like an EMP, then why not tractor beams, where basically you could latch on the other ship that way. So at least keep it from getting away from you. So to me, there was other ways to approach it still that could have made it still, in my opinion, effectively a boarding ship. So, but yeah, that's just our general thoughts on that. But during the second series of questions that they had about the Prowler, there was a really, really good nugget in there of information, that something that caught my eye and something that's been on my mind for a while when it comes to EVA. There is a problem, of course, as you know, that when you get out of your ship when it's moving, that you do not inherit the speed of the ship, and you tend to just come out at zero, and your ship just kind of flies away into black. So the thing is that this has been a real issue, and I've always said that, like for example, if your ship has a damaged engine or whatnot, or you're just tumbling through space, you need to go outside and fix it. With the way it is right now, you're pretty much boned. You step out of your ship, and it's going to be pop, and you just kind of watch your ship fly away, and that's it. You're done. You're dead. But basically, on that subject of that, if that's going to be addressed, they had said, quote unquote, "We spoke with John Pritchett, who said the EVA friction is a bug. We do plan to address this bug at some point. Of course, even if you retain velocity upon exiting a ship, that by itself doesn't necessarily make boarding another ship at speed easy either. We're as interested as you are in seeing just how good you can get at it, and under what conditions." So based on this, and I think this comes down to the fact that I've stated it before, we need to have decoupled on EVA. All EVA should just basically, for the most part, be decoupled. We have like already a button for space brake, and essentially speaking, if you want to rest all your motion, then I don't see why you just can't also make that a button. Like just something you press on there to arrest motion, just to stop whatever, all directional movement. But generally speaking, I think EVA should just be a decoupled experience, and just doing that, I think, would be a big step to helping a particular situation. And of course, you could say like the game has, let's just make up a number here, 1,000 meters a second as your top speed. I don't see any reason.
1,000 years? Oh, in meters.
Meter 1,000 years a second. I don't know how that works.
Light speed, I guess.
Yeah, meters a second. I don't know. I mean, years a second. That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, so we've got so basically, as long as you had enough fuel in your EVA, and if you kept accelerating, you should be able to reach the top speed. And decouple, once you take your finger off the accelerator or whatnot, you basically will keep drifting at that speed until you arrest the motion. This is the essence of decouple. And I think that EVA in general should work like this. I think it'd be more challenging. I think it'd be more interesting. And it would definitely help when you're basically having two ships, for example, side by side, and one crew member wants to get to the other ship, that he can just kind of step out and then drift over to the other side, And I don't know, it's just kind of one of those dramatic kind of moments you see a lot of times in science fiction. Remember in the Enterprise TV series that came out a long time ago, they had these two NX classes that combined their warp bubble, and they had to get Trip, the engineer, from one to the other while in warp, because the ship was locked in warp, and they had to basically he had to go across the way between the two ships. I mean, those kind of dramatic moments. So, but at least there, I think he had rope to help him out. So
I believe he
that's
did.
kind of
He was
cheating.
tethered or something.
Yeah, it's
But
cheating.
what's tether gonna do when you're in a freaking warp field? I mean,
Yeah.
if something bad happens, you're probably dead.
Yeah. So yeah, looks like according to the schedule here, back on the documentation they had for the how things are progressing, that looks like they will have the PTU out by December 1st. So anyone to start sending out PTU invites in general, and they want to have 2.6 out to everyone by December 8th. Now, I don't believe that the 2.6 delay is going to affect 3.0 much, if at all, since these different components are built by different studios at the same time, including the netcodes, the planets, and the missions. So what I'm thinking is that, it wouldn't surprise me to see shortly after the 8th, let's say they hit that mark, that they go into another testing right after that. Once you get off the PTU and go straight to the PU, that frees up the test server again. And it wouldn't surprise me to see within a week here that they're saying, hey, we're already starting to test 3.0 or something. I mean, I don't know anything for certain, but to me it doesn't make sense that 2.6 will have delayed 3.0 by any measure or means, because these things
If anything, 2.6 says delayed 3.0.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't even know if it has. I mean, I think 3.0 is going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. If anything, that's where the delay would have been, because you have all the new flight changes that they're going in, and that's taking time and stuff. So
yeah, but I still think overall, it's possible to see 3.0 at least on the PT by the end of the year, and if we're lucky, on live by the end of the year. I know that's something they've really pushed for. I think they really want to do that. It's kind of a thing with Chris Roberts. I think he wants to kind of put up a big demonstration for the New Year's. Like, look at what we got going now.
Yeah, he's a perfectionist. I've said it multiple times. And I think he has said it actually.
Yeah, so it might be a big thing for him to actually get that all incorporated. But for me, I mean, once you have planets, once you have missions, once you have ability to do cargo runs and do more than just pew-pew, I think you're looking really at the start of the actual game. And 4.0, I believe, is when you might as well call it beta when you got other systems, But
because that's when they have the multiple jump points.
Yeah. So that, to me, that's like, even if we only got like 2 or 3 systems, to me that's enough. I mean, if you think about it, there's like almost 1.7 million backers now. So
let me do a power of Google here really quick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's not Google, that's fucking YouTube.
So he has to learn how to internet. So the thing is
the YouTube and Google freaking hot key buttons are right next to each other.
well, that's your problem, not mine. No, so the way I look at it is, you think about the area of space, size of an actual solar system, even if it's at reduced scale. Having 2 or 3 solar systems, there's enough space there considering the area, the planets, stations, the flat out just open space, that we could still all play in those 2 or 3 systems and still have tons of room available to do what we want without even bumping into one another.
This big list of stuff here?
Sure.
Now, I know, shame on me, it's Wikipedia, but it was the first thing and it's usually got the most information. So in our solar system, we have the sun, obviously. We have 8 planets because apparently Pluto and a bunch of other planets are now dwarf planets, but whatever. And it says possibly 705 currently recognized dwarf planets, 470 known natural satellites, which are, like asteroids or moons. Minor planets, I'm not sure what that's talking about. Maybe that's the asteroids. It says 707,664. And then known comets, 3,406. And objects identified as rounded satellites, 19. So if you want to convert that into star system terminology, that'd be one solar system of possible, planetary bodies. If that's, even if you do half of that, that's still, 300,000 objects that you could go to and like mine or explore.
Yeah, and
that's a lot of stuff.
and that's more space than even all the entire player base then can even begin to use. So, yeah, once in my opinion, once you get multiple systems, because the idea for me is the idea of the jump gates. That's important. That's a huge factor in the game. So once you get that in, I figure it's beta, it's game on. At that point in time, in my mind, doesn't mean they're going to call it that, but that's the way it would feel to me. So, as I said, enough space there, and just having the whole Stanton system, just having that done, be able to, instead of having a social module, be able to fly the planet with the social module and then land and then meet your friends at the bar. So that's kind of a difference between just like, for me, that's just that one unified experience. I think you're going to see the social module go away too when 3.0 comes out. That wouldn't really shock me at all. There'd be no reason for it. I mean, you just, load into the PU and just fly right down to the planet itself. The last thing here, it's a minor note, but it's something that some people might find interesting, and something that definitely that I do to some degree. That they're creating a way in the ships basically to change the verbosity of the ship's computer. In other words, you can make it not talk to you as much. Or hopefully they're not making an option where it talks to you more, because that would be kind of funny.
Could you imagine how awesome that'd be? Just think about it for trolling reasons, okay?
Oh yeah.
We'll go off topic for a second here. If I was loaning you out my Retaliator for some reason, right? So I go in there and I set the computer to maximum chattiness possible, and they're like, okay, it's free to take whenever you want. I got it all loaded out with fuel and ammo and stuff. And so, you get into your friend's ship, and it's like, welcome to Aegis, and how are you doing today, sir? I am doing well. Fuel supplies at maximum. Ammo stockpile is full. Prepare to dock, or prepare to take off. It'd be hilarious.
The landing gear is made of a special alloy. It's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. So yeah, I mean, on the other side, you got hacking in the game. So like, yeah, that's how you actually sabotage your opponent's ship. You hack into their computer and make it this. I want to turn the verbosity all the way to max, just to piss them off. It's like jamming the radar in Spaceballs. That's really just kind of one of those things. But yeah, I mean, that would be to me. Nice. I have something called voice attack, and when I use it, I don't want to have the game's default voice at the same time. There's sometimes when I'm using voice attack, the AI is of the default in the ship is talking at the same time that voice attack is, and there's an overlap. And for that reason, I like to be able just to shut it off and just use my extra program, because I think that would sound a little bit better, because I have a particular pack that has has an actual voice actor that did the voice, and so you have these two conflicting voices, and it just sounds weird. Anyway, that's kind of why it's interesting to me. But anyway, guys, that's it for the BlastCast this week. Not a whole lot to go over, as you would expect. I think there were only real patch notes or anything we're gonna have is what was in the turkey dinner, and so that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. This is a really dry week, and of course, all the sales are pretty much over. Hope everyone got what they were looking for. I myself finished my last upgrades. I did not get the Phoenix I wanted. I said I went to turn the Aquila into a Karak.
I didn't get a free javelin, so I'm pretty upset by the lack of free javelins.
Yeah, that is true. Lack of free javelins was disappointing. And then I did turn my basic Avenger into the Avenger Warlock, because I wanted something with an EMP. So I'm done. I have everything I need, which is actually I probably have too much. Actually, I definitely have too much. So anyway,
you could have a private freaking army with the ships you have.
That's true. Yeah, I am an army of one, at least a fleet of one. So, and sometimes that feels kind of literal. Anyway, guys, leave comments down below if you have any questions or you want to discuss anything. I always love interacting with you guys, and if anything at all comes to mind, we'll be happy to cover it in the next episode. And anyway, hope you had great holidays, and talk to you later.
Bye bye.